Hello everybody. Did you see that video? Basically, these women went to Ghana and they went to the castle which is in Cape Coast in Ghana, the country of Ghana. And a lot of people go there, to experience, you know, basically what slaves went to, because we know that a lot of slaves, came from the West African region, Ghana and other parts of West Africa. And so in this case, a lot of them, they brought them to the slave castle, and so a lot of them, some of them were, they handcuffed them with, whatever tools that they used to kind of like, control them. And then towards the other side is where the ships were at, where they led them through, and then they led them all the way to the United States. And as we know, the slavery itself was a horror, because most of them didn't even make it. If you're lucky enough to actually survive to make it, you must be a really, really strong and tolerant slave in order to be able to make it to America. Because a lot of people, died on their way, and some also committed suicide as well too. They rather die than become slaves to these European settlers that brought them to America. So some of them even jump off the ships, rather drown themselves and die, whatever the case is. But historically, a lot of black folks, Africans in general, they did fight, during that time as well. A lot of them fought. Some of them died, but they fought in those ships, whatever they can do. They'd rather die, stand up as a man than become subjected to another person as a slave. So we know the history of slavery is a horrible thing. It's a huge Holocaust in itself that was brought upon, the Europeans to, Africans in general, in that sense. So, and this slavery occurred in many parts of the world, not just in America. African Americans are obviously not the only people that suffered that consequence of slavery. In fact, the slavery that happened in America was nothing compared to the slavery that happened in certain parts of the world, like in Brazil, and the other places. The horror that they faced was really, 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 really horrible. Not that black folks in America did not experience horror, obviously, but the horror in itself was experienced throughout the Caribbeans, throughout the like South America, for instance, like in Brazil, which had like the largest population of Africans outside of Africa, were sent to there as well. So the horror was around, it happened to different regions and stuff, etc. So, and in that sense that, but in this case, we're talking about, African Americans, because since we live in America here, that's why. But slavery happened all over, Caribbeans and stuff, etc. So many people travel, go to that Gulf Coast, and go to that castle, if it's Afro-Brazilians, or it's, Haitians, or if it's just anyone who's from the diaspora, who descendants of Africa in general. So they went there to visit, well, like everybody else does. But they decided to basically do something completely different. And then they decided to, like, they didn't go there just to learn something. Unfortunately, they went there to basically, do like a lot of women and Western women do all the time, which is, seeking attention. That's the saddest part. They went there seeking attention. That is a horror of slavery. To go there to learn something, to embrace the spirit of what your ancestors went through. Instead, you're gonna go there twerking. I mean, this is disgusting and despicable. And this is what I'm talking about: the conditions of our women in the Western culture, and the things that they do, which is horrible. And if you call them on that, people say, "Oh, you're anti-women, you in a closet," or you whatever they can come up with, which is disgusting. We can't hold people accountable for their wrong. I mean, we should be able to hold human beings accountable for your wrong. What's between your leg should not define who you are. In that sense, that no one can, you're above criticism, whether male or female. You are not above criticism. Everyone is subject to criticism. Hell, even I'm subject to criticism, because not everyone's always gonna agree with everything I say, and I respect that. And I love people giving their opinions. We have an honest, respectful discussion, etc. Okay, nothing wrong with that. We can agree to disagree. And so I'm not gonna agree with it just as much as many people do not agree. Going there trying to seek attention is horrible. See, if they had gone to the club twerking, seeking attention, that still would have been at least more respectful in that manner, because they're doing that within the comfort zone. You know what I mean? Versus going to a historical place like that and then twerking. I mean, imagine. Could you imagine Jews going into a Holocaust museum and twerking? That would be complete. That's the other disrespect. Imagine just going to a Holocaust museum as a Jew, and then you're twerking for all the people that died. You twerking? That's just a horror. And we're talking about slavery that occurred way longer. That occurred way before the Holocaust. This is a Holocaust of African people in general. And then we're talking about you guys not even gonna. I mean, seriously, there's a time and place for everything. And this right here is the effery of what I've always talked about, how our women do, and just as much as our men, we don't think. We don't allow ourselves. See, we don't realize that every time they do this kind of stuff, they are representing black folks. And that kind of disrespect in itself, their disrespect disrespected all of us. Hate it or not, but that's the fact. And so when you're going to go up there and disrespect and do this, you have other cultures, other races, other people that are looking at us like, what is up with these people? They don't care about anything. They don't value anything. They have no respect for anything. That's how they see it. They. Not those women. It's a they. Is it wrong? Unfortunately, it is. But that's reality. I wish there was a way that we can separate ourselves from the ratchet people and the thugs and the people that create all of this problems within our communities. Unfortunately, they are part of our community. Until we find a solution to resolve this, I guess the best option would be to separate. But as of now, we have to be able to learn to be able to at least work together in that sense. And this is not a best part. This is not a way to start. You know, Ghana opened itself to the diaspora, you know, for people all over to be able to come in and experience, you know, the essence of Africa, you know, and it's part of it is tourism, yes, but a portion of it is also to experience the essence of Africa. Going to the slave coast, going to the Gulf Coast, and then going to the areas where the castle is at. It's a spiritual journey to humble a person. When you come back to the States, you become humbled. You see? Because a lot of times we walking out with eggshells, walking like we above everything, you know, in America, and that's got us gassed up. And this is the reason the horror why we're hurting each other back and forth. Ninjas are hurting each other over dumb stuff. Dudes talking about within the same black folks, you know, the same black folks coming from the same family. The same family, but they're going to hurt each other because this person represents this gang and this person represents that gang. You see how dumb that is? And this is the reason why each and every one of us needs to take a journey to experience that journey, the spiritual journey. So then when you come back to America, you get that essence. It's almost like a pilgrimage in that sense. You know, when Muslims travel to Mecca, they go there on a spiritual journey. Part of it is worship, yes, but it's also a spiritual journey. And when they come back, they feel enlightened. You know, they feel a spiritual, all these burdens that they have was taken away from them. You know, not just the physical, their spiritual sins, but also their physical essence. It's a spiritual journey for them. And also it's a physical journey as well too. You know, they feel different. Same thing in the sense that, you know, I'm not going to equate it in the same essence. But this is almost like a reminder when you go to Africa, go to the Gulf Coast, go to the castle to remind you. Imagine seeing and watching your ancestors walking through those gates, handcuffed, chained, whipped, going through all of this. And what you're going to do, you're going to be twerking for what? To seek attention? That is disgusting. It is disgusting. I'm amazed that, you know, they weren't even arrested. Because Cause that's a disrespect. Especially imagine coming. I mean, imagine if you would come to my country and you're gonna come in and disrespect something that is such a horror, a Holocaust of black people all over the world, of African descent, Africans in general, Holocaust of Africans. You're gonna come there to the motherland and twerking? That's just disgusting. Anyway, like, subscribe, and comment, and let me know what you think. I gotta go, man. Bye.